County-wide fire service plan approved. Walton Hospital gets money for an inpatient social worker. Margaretville Hospital welcomes a new family medicine doctor. These are some of the headlines this week. Welcome to CatskillsAir. I'm Jessica Murphy, here with your latest local news. Joining me now is Matt Avitable, editor and publisher of the Mountain Eagle and Catskills Chronicle. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, let's get right to the news. Delaware County supervisors were busy at their June meeting. They agreed to fund a county-wide fire service study. Matt, explain what's being looked at.
Absolutely. The county announced this. They're going to be approving this funding for comprehensive countywide fire assessment. It's going to be conducted by the Emergency Services Consulting International Organization, and the approval follows recommendations from the Fire Advisory Board here locally. This came as a retention committee of that organization, reflects the overwhelming majority of the fire chiefs in the county who recognize the growing challenges facing the local fire service. There's a lot of different reasons for this. We wind up with considerable difficulty getting enough volunteers. The advisory board also establishes recruitment and retention committee to help identify strategies to preserve and strengthen volunteer fire protection services for future generations. There's a lot in here, including different needs of all the departments in the county, but ultimately we're looking at 28 local fire departments and their needs.
Delco Sups also awarded money to Walton Hospital for inpatient care, for bridge work, and a raise for the DA. Explain these actions.
The hospital in Walton will be receiving $120,000 through opioid settlement funds announced by the Attorney General. We also see nearly $500,000 awarded for the preservation of two local bridges, Turk Hill Road in Roxbury, as well as Harper Road in Harpersfield. And there was a raise as the District Attorney, Sean Smith, will be receiving an increase in his pay. This increase of $4,500 is due to state requirements.
Margaretville Hospital hosted a meet and greet for its newest doctor, Judith Maglocksky, as well as some other new hires. So Matt, can you fill our viewers in on the new staffers?
Absolutely. I had a chance to talk with Dr. Maglocksky. We had a really nice talk about her background, discussing why she came to Margaretville, her particular interest in primary care, and her long resume. She comes highly qualified with a lot of study and comes ready and eager to help the people of Margaretville.
CatskillsAir spoke with Dr. Maglocksky.
So I'm in the outpatient clinic adjacent to the hospital. So we're providing primary care services, screenings, Medicare wellness. We'll be doing sick visits for established patients, and then there's some specialists in the office that we can refer you to, like pulmonary, cardiology, GYN, physical therapy, and so forth.
Welcome to all of the new staffers. And guess what? That train is up and running again. For the first time since 2019, Delaware and Ulster Railroad Scenic Rides reopened in Arkville over the holiday weekend. The train runs 4 times every Saturday, and they hope to extend the rides through the fall. And they're looking for a few fun folks to come on board to crew. Turning to the courts and crime, the Delhi man accused of witness tampering and a series of sex crimes is sentenced.
David Gensler, age 51, of Delhi, appeared in Delaware County Court in June and pleaded guilty to multiple charges in satisfaction of these pending indictments. Ultimately, he was facing 5 separate indictments and pleaded guilty to unlawful imprisonment in the first degree, which is a Class E felony. He admitted that last August, he intentionally restricted the movements of a female victim, and further admitted he did this under circumstances that placed the female victim at risk of serious physical harm or death. And after pleading guilty, Judge John Hubbard sentenced him to a definite sentence of 1 year in jail, and the court issued a final order of protection requiring that the defendant stay away from and otherwise have no contact with the victim for 8 years.
Another conviction in a criminal mischief case at SUNY Delhi.
This one saw a 20-year-old Christian Navarro Guerrero coming to town of Delhi Court in May and pleading guilty to 1 count of criminal mischief in the 4th degree, which is a Class A misdemeanor. After accepting this plea, the court placed the defendant on 1 year of interim probation. This stems from an April incident. Police received report of a broken window at the first floor entrance of Catskill Hall. After viewing security camera footage, The police observed a male punching the door, causing the glass to crack. They wound up using the student directory and ID photos, and eventually police were able to identify Guerrero. He was located and arrested without incident, and now we're going to see what the consequence is.
Andy's court gave a local man a 1-year conditional discharge sentence in a DWAI case.
Ronald Borner, age 38 of Andes, pleaded guilty in Andes court to 1 count of driving while impaired by drugs, which is an unclassified misdemeanor, and was sentenced to that 1-year conditional discharge that you mentioned. He is also required to attend a victim impact panel, impaired drivers program, and his license will be revoked for at least 6 months. And this stems from an October incident in which a New York State trooper was dispatched to a 2-car motor vehicle accident in Andes, and upon arrival, the trooper determined that one of the vehicles was rear-ended while turning into the Wayne Bank parking lot. The driver that rear-ended the vehicle, identified as the defendant, stated that he had been driving straight and hit the car because they had slowed down too much, and the trooper noticed that his speech was slurred and detected the odor of an alcoholic beverage. The trooper administered this field sobriety test and determined that he was impaired.
A Delaware County jury indicted a Hobart man, and Matt, we talked about this arrest previously.
We did, and now we're going to be looking at the next chapter for Wesley Ignor, age 29 of Hobart. This indictment stems from that traffic stop we've discussed before. A sheriff's deputy pulled him over. A vehicle was allegedly speeding on Route 10 near the village of Stamford, recognized the driver as Mr. Ignor, and it's alleged that the vehicle failed to stop until reaching the driver's residence, and after stopping, Ignor initially complied and then allegedly actively resisted his arrest. After being placed in handcuffs, it's alleged he repeatedly assaulted the deputy by using his legs, feet, head, and shoulders. So we're looking at several counts here. Count 1 alleges attempted assault in the 2nd degree, which is a Class E felony. Count 2 alleges obstruction of governmental administration in the 2nd degree, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and Count 3 alleges aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle.
A Walton resident was picked up during a physical altercation with a child present. Matt?
This comes in the aftermath of a domestic incident that happened in June. During the course of their investigation, sheriff's deputies alleged that Ryan Barringer, age 45 of Walton, had engaged in physical domestic incident with another person while a child was in the same proximity. And after the investigation, the deputies submitted requests for an arrest warrant and an order of protection in Walton. And ultimately, sheriff's deputies located and arrested Barringer on the warrant at his residence. He was charged with endangering the welfare of a child, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and harassment in the 2nd degree.
State gang and narcotics cops made a traffic stop and scored a big bust.
This one was announced by the state police as members of the Troop C Violent Gang Narcotics Enforcement Team and members of the Community Stabilization Unit conducted a traffic stop on a 2024 Tesla while on State Route 206 in the town of Downsville after observing alleged vehicle and traffic law violations. And during this stop, state police seized approximately 109 grams of cocaine, approximately 66 grams of methamphetamine, 2 cell phones, money, and the driver, Maurice Stewart, age 38 of Oneonta, was arrested and charged with a number of related crimes, including criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 2nd degree, which is a Class A2 felony.
Sheriff's deputies in Walton saw a car speeding along Prospect Avenue. Following a stop and search, they arrested 18-year-old Juliana Burr of Otsego on 4 different charges. Then, the next Friday, June 19th, sheriff deputies found and arrested Barbara B. Wally of Walton on a bench warrant. And in Walton, 56-year-old Michael Locastro was arrested on a DWI and other charges. Locastro was arrested at the local Dollar General. Matt, details.
Sheriff's deputies responded to a call on June 21st that reported larceny in progress allegedly happening at the Dollar General in Walton. Deputies arrived on the scene and located a male identified as 56-year-old Michael Locastro of Walton. After the investigation, sheriff's deputies arrested and charged him with 1 count of petty larceny and 1 count of criminal possession of stolen property in the 5th degree. Both of these are Class A misdemeanors, and he was given an appearance ticket to Town of Walton Court.
All right, well, a group of local ham operators got together with others across the country last weekend. Tell us about Lorcan Otway's report on Margaretville's Radio Club event in Delhi last week.
This one was really neat because it tied together different parts of Delaware County, including members from Margaretville as well as this meeting in Delhi. They really hammed it up, and I mean that in a positive way. We see operators here who are preserving a vital skill that is becoming less common. We wind up seeing the Margaretville Amateur Radio Club showing such positive impact on the community, especially when there is a problem. If you're interested in knowing more, take a look at the article and consider joining one of these radio clubs. You never know when your skill will be needed.
A free rabies clinic takes place in Walton on July 13th. Delco Public Health is sponsoring the Shots for Local Pets from 5 to 7 p.m. at the First Baptist Church. All cats and dogs are required by law to be vaccinated, and they'll even take ferrets too. There's a list of things to do beforehand in the paper. Stamford Golf Club celebrated a special senior with a scholarship. Matt?
David Kammer of Gilboa Conesville was selected as the 2025-2026 recipient of the Lou Gaeta Senior Memorial Scholarship Award. This money goes to a graduating senior from a Delaware League school who attended one of the summer golf clinics at the Stamford Golf Club and ultimately reflects proper ideals of sportsmanship, integrity, and character that golf teaches us all.
And Stamford Central School will be serving free breakfast and lunch this summer.
A successful program is going to continue as Stamford Central School will be participating in the Summer Food Service Program from July 6th to July 31st. And then there's going to be food provided only at Stamford Central School from August 3rd to August 14th. There's several locations if you'd like to take a look in the paper. One of them is the school. We also wind up seeing some at the Churchill Gym. We hope that you're able to make it.
This summer, art camps are fun and affordable and for kids of all ages, right, Matt?
This one is really neat. This one comes to us from our new intern, Mila Crane, who wrote about these different camps. So if you want to know more, she has a rundown of Arts and Rec at Osmos, as well as Camp Create and Camp Feathers in a notebook. We write about some of these over time, and she was able to compile them in one list. If you got young ones who want to stay busy and learn something cool at the same time, perfect opportunity in the last page of this week's Catskills Chronicle.
And calling all Catskills woodchuckers, Wild Saturdays is on at John Burroughs Lodge.
There's going to be an annual meeting as well as the Canals program if you want to learn more. All of this is happening on Saturday, July 11th. Everything starts at 11 a.m. The program is going to be New York State's 19th century canals presented by Bill Merchant, who is the D&H Canal historian, and he's going to talk about an illustrated look at the waterways that shaped New York during the 19th century. And having taught New York State history several times, I can tell you it's going to be really interesting. If you can make it, please make sure to head to the Burroughs Woodchuck Lodge there in Roxbury.
A shout out to farmers and friends. The 96th annual Delco Farm Tour is on the move.
Everyone is invited to attend this. It's going to be the 96th annual Delaware County Farm Tour, and it's going to be taking place on Monday, July 13th, starting at 10 a.m. And this year's tour theme is going to be Progressive Paths in Agriculture. There's a lot because of so many farms in the area. We hope to tell you more before the tour begins.
And lastly today, a big birthday blast to Phyllis Graves of Stamford, who recently turned a happy 100 years old. Here's to many more, Phyllis.
Phyllis Graves told our own Liz Page that she never really planned for making 100 years old, and she still doesn't feel that it's real. Her family came together at Robinson Terrace. Liz told me Phyllis is still sharp, and what's interesting is she doesn't really have a recipe for all of us to reach 100 years old. She says that she's thankful and feeling well that she has her mind. This is really neat because her family was there. They had balloons and cake with family and friends. She even wore her tiara and sash to be a good sport about all this and was quickly talking to everyone. It was really neat. She talked about her background. Her father worked for the telephone company during the Depression, and it was a good paying job, and that this allowed her family to make it through this very difficult time. Phyllis is a real neat person, and I'm glad that she's going to be 100, and I hope that we're going to be talking about her 101st next year.
Well, that's it for Catskills News. For more, pick up the Mountain Eagle or Catskills Chronicle. Well, Matt, before you go, a quick hit on next week's news.
We are going to have a variety of different programs and events over the last weekend. So in next week's broadcast, we're going to be talking about the wonderful fair in Margaretville. We're going to be talking about July 4th celebrations across the area, fireworks, parades, and a lot more.
Sounds great, Matt. Thanks for keeping us all up to date. Until next week. And now it's time to talk sports. Here's John with 2 area teams reaching for the majors.
It's a fact. As our summer weather hits peak temperatures, a baseball flies farther, and batting statistics generally spike. That makes for an uptick in balls sailing over the wall and the likelihood of thrilling late-game comebacks. All good reasons for planning a trip to the ballpark. Locally, hardened baseball fans or just families looking for a day at the park have 2 options to consider. The Oneonta Outlaws 2026 baseball campaign runs through the month of July. The Outlaws play in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a collection of teams made up of collegiate baseball players located in 16 small cities throughout New York State. At this point of the Outlaws season, the wins have been getting harder and harder to come by. The Outlaws hold a record of 7 wins, 13 losses, and a tie. To date, the Outlaws win more than they lose playing at Damaski Park in Oneonta, but have struggled mightily when they take their game on the road. Run production has been an issue for the Outlaws during the opening month of the season. Led by a trio of contact hitters, the Outlaws are hoping their bats heat up during the month of July. Outfielder Vincent Duffy leads the Oneonta offense, batting a sizzling .426. Caden Krause is hitting .333, and P.J. Strand .306 for the Outlaws. If you have a hankering to see some professional baseball, perhaps a trip to Bladow Stadium in Binghamton to see the Rumble Ponies might be more to your liking. Binghamton plays Double-A minor league baseball in the storied Eastern League, the 2026 season beginning the 11th decade of Eastern League play. Binghamton is an affiliate of Major League Baseball's New York Mets. As defending Eastern League champions, local fans were expecting big things for the Ponies this summer. Like it has gone for the parent Mets, thus far the Rumble Ponies have been a major disappointment. The Ponies finished in last place during the first half of the season's schedule, finishing 15 games below 500. But hope springs eternal, with each Eastern League team starting with a clean slate last week as the second half of the season gets underway. Of course, minor league baseball is as much about player development than it is about winning and losing baseball games. So if you're planning a trip to Bladow Stadium to watch the Ponies, you might want to plan a date when the Ponies' left-handed pitching ace Jonathan Santucci's on the mound. Santucci, who pitched for Duke, was a second-round Mets draft selection in the 2024 baseball draft, the 46th overall. Another Rumble Pony prospect to keep an eye on, a guy who always seems to make the game more interesting, is Chris Suero. The kid from the Bronx, Suero is not your prototype of a typical professional baseball catcher. The 22-year-old has electric power and blazing speed, already having hit 11 home runs and stolen 19 bases. When planning a trip to Binghamton to see the Ponies, it's good to know a Miller Auto fireworks show follows every Friday night home game. That's our local sports report for this week.
Thanks, John. I just love these 2 teams. It's turtle time again in the Catskills. The shelled critters are crossing roads and in danger of being crushed. The Mountain Eagle has a great article on the powerful jaws and long necks of our endangered snapping turtles. Mud turtles are the rarest species of turtle in New York. Most turtles hibernate through to May, then are seen crossing the roads, most likely in search of nesting sites or water. Turtles killed by passing cars is significantly destroying their populations. So if you see a turtle in the road, try to urge it gently with a blunt object from behind in the direction it's headed. Some, like snappers, can bite, so be caring but be careful. All native amphibians and reptiles here are protected under New York State environmental conservation law, and the DEC has more turtle facts on its website. Now let's see what Elizabeth has in arts and entertainment.
Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Focus on the Arts News Spot. First, Middleburg Library, July 12th, Prinkapoo. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Prinkapoo. They are an ensemble of trained professionals that perform traditional and folk Mediterranean music. A wonderful, interesting thing to bring your family to. Balkans, Turkey, Greece. Rich and immersive music. People should learn these things. They're giving back. Reservations should be thought of before you go. There's limited space in the Middleburg Library, so give them a call and find out. But definitely go and let's help support Prinkapoo. Tannersville, the Orpheum Performing Arts Center, will have Cinderella, written in 1697 by Charles Perrault. Filled with drama and music and comedy, Cinderella. Call for more information so you can go and bring your family. This will be a wonderful event to bring your kids to. So check that out. Gilboa Museum in Gilboa has just opened 1,000 Words, Art with a Narrative. It will run to the end of July, so you want to bring your family on the weekends. They're there Saturday and Sunday. Call beforehand if you have to, but check it out. And the museum is full of wonderful fossils to learn from and check out, so bring your kids. Check out the museum's latest exhibit. At the Wyndham Public Library, July 15th, Hometown Giants, Sketching Our Nation's Dinosaurs, an art workshop, ages 5 and up. Bring your young kids, bring yourself, draw with a teacher that will bring the dinosaurs back to life on paper. So you definitely want to check that out. Have a good time. Let's support everybody out there. Be safe, be happy, be creative. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Here are a couple of other things to do. Join the Hobart Historical Society for a reading of the Declaration of Independence and see the wooden Hobart ballot box replaced by voting machines in the mid-50s. The meeting's on Wednesday, July 8th at 6 p.m. Still want more 250th Independence lore? Then take a Revolutionary War Cemetery driving tour with the Delco Historical Association. Meet at Pioneer Cemetery adjacent to the library in Sydney at 10 a.m. on July 18th. Drive across northern Delco, visit cemeteries like Meredith Square and Harpersfield Rural. The tour costs $10 a car and will end around 3 in the afternoon, so bring a lunch. Well, I guess the adage, be careful what you wish for, hit home for a lot of us this past week. We've been praying for that warm summer weather, and boy, did we get it, and some more. So what's coming up next? Flames from Hades, maybe? Let's take a look.
Heidi-ho, friends and neighbors, it's Lori with CatskillsAir, bringing you your work week weather update for the beautiful, pristine, still highly wacky and unpredictable weather Catskill Mountain region. And if you were in the Cats over the holiday weekend, some of us saw some extreme thunderstorm and scattered showers throughout the area on both Friday and Saturday. And it looks like for the week ahead, we're going to have that cool down that some of you are going to love. Not so much me, I like the heat. However, it's going to warm back up midweek, but nothing like the heat extreme we've had this past weekend. So let's give it a go and check out what's happening in the Catskill High Peaks for your work week in weather. On Monday, showers and rain is very high possibility with temperatures only topping out in the mid to upper 60s, with winds on the gusty side out of the east-southeast at 10 to 15. Overnight, we have cloudy skies with periods of rain showers. Temps are going to drop it way back to the mid to upper 50s with winds gusty out of the east-southeast at 10 to 15. On Tuesday, we have light rain in the morning time with a cloudy afternoon mix with the possibility of scattered showers. Temperatures are only going to top out in the low 70s, winds out of the east at 5 to 10. Overnight, we have mostly cloudy skies. Those temps are going to dip it back to the mid to upper 50s, winds light and variable. On Wednesday, the temps are going to rise. We have a mix of sun and clouds. Temps are going to dip out at darn near 80 degrees, winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. Overnight, we have partly cloudy skies. Temperatures are going to drop it back to the low 60s, winds out of the west at 5 to 10. On Thursday, we have partly cloudy skies. It's going to be a tad bit warmer. Temps are going to be in the mid to low 80s. Winds out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10. Overnight, we have cloudy skies with the chance of scattered, isolated showers and thunderstorms. Temps are going to drop back to the mid 60s with winds out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10. And on Friday, we have scattered thunderstorms and more widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Temps are going to reach 80 degrees with winds out of the west at 5 to 10. And overnight, we have showers in the early evening, turning to mostly cloudy skies, or at least cloudy skies after midnight. Temps are going to drop back to the low 60s, winds out of the west-northwest at 5 to 10. As I bid you farewell, remember that weather and temperature changes on a dime, especially in the beautiful Cats. Be sure to join me for your weekend weather update, because are we going to go up or down in the weather? Only I and Mother Nature knows. So see you then from somewhere in the Cats.
That's it for CatskillsAir News. If you see something out there, let us know. I'm Jessica Murphy, and as we go out, take a look at students from our area high schools who graduated this year. Congratulations to the class of 2026 from all of us here at CatskillsAir. We wish you a successful and joyous future.